Hello, my name is Creostix and welcome to FIFA 17 and to my video series of 100 Years of Finland, where I will be playing as Finland, and indeed in the series I play games where I get to play as Finland or as someone from Finland, or indeed just a game that has something to clearly do with Finland, and this time it's time for some football. And a really quick, let's say warning here. I am very, very terrible at this. It's like no joke. I don't know how to really play. Like, I really, really don't know. Essentially, the last FIFA game I've played is, I think, FIFA 08, and I played that for about 5 minutes. So that's the thing we're looking at here. I barely understand the concept of B is shoot, maybe, I hope. So this is indeed, I am horrible. I will probably not win. I'll probably not be able to score a goal because I don't just understand the controls and all that. So we're not here to be good at FIFA. We're here to celebrate Finland and 100 years of that, and that's the point. And have fun, of course, I hope. And there we are then. And with that, I might, if I manage to remember a few facts about things I know about football, then all the better, or at least Finnish football. So, indeed, I tried one game of this to just get an idea, and indeed, I couldn't score a goal, and there was everything was terrible, so we're going to just try our best here and have some fun. And indeed, I'm playing against Norway because I sort of scrolled through the possible oppositions here, and it's sort of Norway was in the ballpark of the skill level of the players as Finland is. Norway is a bit better in the stats, but still, and it's they are a lovely neighbor and everything. So let's see if we can try to just lose with dignity. Yes, and indeed, football is kind of an interesting beast when it comes to how popular it is in Finland, because technically speaking, it is not the most followed sport, I believe, in Finland. It's gonna be probably ice hockey is the #1 followed sport, but when it comes to, but in a way, football is still the #1 most popular, in the sense that probably the most people, or at least kids and all that, most of those, they have. Football has the biggest number of players, at least among kids, because in the official things, like in official teams and all that. And the reason for that is simply the cost of the sport, because football isn't super costly to play in the end. Of course, there's license fees and all that, but essentially it is considerably less costly to have that as a hobby as a kid than, say, ice hockey, which is just thousands upon thousands upon thousands of euros to be a part of that. So therefore, most kids, when they're little, they start football at some point. They play for, say, maybe between a year or 4 years, and then they move on to do just different things in life. So in that sense, football is the most popular because it has the most kids that play it. And did you see that? That was so lucky. I know the AI is indeed a beginner, I know, but I tried the amateur and I couldn't do anything against them. It's just nothing. That is a nice goal, man. Oh wow, that was lucky. I'll take it, sure. And Joel Pohjanpalo, let's roll, Joel. We are doing well already. Yes. And let's just continue on. And indeed, probably the most well-known football player from Finland I would have to imagine he's Jari Litmanen, who played, well, the most popular years he played in Ajax in Europe, and indeed eventually won. Eventually, he won the Champions League with Ajax, so or Ajax, you know, AJAX is the name of the team. And indeed, he is also the most well-known and popular player in Finland as well. He a few years back he was still in the national team. You know, he retired from there in like I want to say. I don't want to say the exact year because I'm gonna get it wrong, but it wasn't too long ago. It was surprisingly few years ago still. I think he played well into his 40s, and by all accounts, he was a pretty cool dude too. So there you go, 3-0. We're making progress. This is going a lot better than I actually expected. I genuinely I fucked up everything when it came to the game over when I tried one tiny bit of a practice run, and as Mattila and T. Pukki are the goal scorers so far beyond Pohjanpalo. Awesome. So, then, indeed, you probably have heard of Litmanen, and he could be one of the few ones you have. Oh crap. There. Yes, indeed, I don't know how to stop attacks really well, is the problem. So, indeed, I'm horrible. I've barely touched a FIFA game in a decade. So, that's the... Oh, why did that... That's unusual. Give me a second. There we go. Why did it do that? Huh, okay. Let's roll back then and go and play, please. Yes, good. The controller sort of started syncing up for some reason without, well, anyhow, let's keep on going. And indeed, as a kid, Litmanen was also the, or when I was a kid, Litmanen was the most well-known as well. Beyond that, you might have heard of Sami Hyypiä, who I believe mostly played for Liverpool back in the day. And, oh, well, there you go. And, he was also a pretty well-known player when he was active, and he went on to coach, I believe, in, I want to say Bayern Leverkusen, but I could be wrong on that count, but still. Beyond that, though, indeed, I would be fairly amazed if you would have heard of many other Finnish players, but essentially, like, you know, that's a start still. And indeed, currently, from the current players, probably, like, they're not super well known, but you probably may have heard from people like, say, you might have heard of Alexander Ring. Like, if you're really into football, I mean, and then there's the Perparim Hetemai, I believe, plays in Italy. I don't know if it's in the Serie A or Serie, like the second Serie of Italy, but still, I mean, he has played there as well. And of course the Eremenko family has a lot of good players who play for Finland. Most notably at this point, I believe it is a Alexei Eremenko Jr. and Roman Eremenko, who I believe, at least at some point, I think Roman Eremenko plays currently in Russia, although in the the Russian league, but I believe he had some thing with like some sort of substance stuff. I don't know who, and I believe he had a bit of a penalty for that and couldn't play for a while. I don't know if he's playing now, but I think it's probably, you know, we're in the ballpark of having him play as well, which would be good for the national team at least, because that is indeed where we are probably gonna go next. The national team of Finland. You see, which we're obviously playing as. Oh crap. We have in this country, we are very quick to, lose hope when it comes to national teams. We have this sort of a characteristic in our psychology here, where we really just lose hope from for our national teams in most sports pretty quickly when things don't go well, and oftentimes they don't go very well. Indeed, our team has never ever reached the World Cup of football, I believe. I mean, that's what I understand, and also never the European Cup either. So no FIFA World Cup or UEFA European Cup. Neither of those. Nope. It just. It's okay just for me to say this when I'm Finnish, you see. Haha, yes. So, most people who have a bit of a let's say, irony to them would agree with that. Our team is oftentimes not very good. But I obviously say that with love, you know, and for nothing. Yay! Awesome! Bottom corner, go for it! Mr. Teemu Pukki again. Oh, awesome! And actually, speaking of, you might have heard of Teemu Pukki. He's a current player. Like, again, if you follow football, I mean, obviously he has been in a number of European, teams over the last few years, and has done some, kind of, a promising amounts of goals every once in a while, at least. So there's good. He is probably one of the at least more promising, or even one of the best forwards we have in our national team currently. So there is that. But indeed, our national team is not exceptionally good, because indeed it's just oftentimes just they are not even as good as they should be. Sometimes they just have some communication problems with their coaches, and just sometimes they just easily lose faith in their own projects, you see. So when they lose faith in what they're doing, then they kind of don't play too well. But that's fine, you see. We secretly love our team, obviously, because it's Finland, go team, But indeed, we have no delusions on whether or not we can be any good when it comes to playing against actual solid national teams. And especially I believe the last few games our team has done actually pretty okay in the games that determine whether or not we go to the and we won't go to the World Cup, because we just weren't good enough. The last few games of those were actually pretty okay, but pretty much the 6 or 7 games before that were all horrendously bad, like just lost to everything. I believe we couldn't even win against Kosovo, the new football national team of Kosovo. So I believe that was a tie, but still, we should have been able to just take that game, but we weren't, because it just not too good, you see, is the answer. So there we go. But that's fine. That's okay. But indeed, so to give a bit of a perspective on what we're looking at when we're looking at the national team of Finland, so there is that. And indeed, when it comes to following the sport in other ways in Finland, not too many people follow the teams of the League of Finland. There are a couple of teams that or one team you may have heard of, which is, you might have heard of HJK Helsinki. It's like white and blue logo and all that. They have. I want to say they actually got one time ages ago into the actual like rounds of, or what do you call it, when the the group rounds, the Group A, Group B, Group C of Champions League. They once did that, but that was like in the 90s or something. So you probably don't remember. We do, because it's the one thing that any Finnish team has done in ever. But yeah, we have the halftime here, and we are winning by 4-0, which is, I'm surprised. I didn't expect that to actually like happen. I had, when I played that one tiny, test to see if I can play at all, I shot everything to just, above the goal, and I just couldn't even hit the goal, and all this, it was horrible. So this is kind of surprising me with vengeance here. But there we are. But nonetheless, we can now persevere and try to bring glory with 5-0. Awesome! Yeah! Again, Teemu Pukki, is it? I think, yeah. That is quite something. And we have a lively crowd with Finnish flags and everything. Awesome. Great. And there we go. And that is a hat-trick, so it is indeed Teemu Pukki. So, what was I saying again? But yeah, beyond the national team, not very many people in Finland in the end follow the teams of the Finnish league. It is kind of it's a thing that the teams have kind of a problem with, because it is struggling to garner the attention from the crowds, which then causes, obviously some, economic problems, in the sense that for the teams, I mean, where they're, struggling to gain money because not too many people go to watch the games and such. Obviously every team has their fans, obviously, but it is indeed a common problem where it's hard to grow the teams into really good teams when it's, to begin with, pretty hard to create interest in the people to come and watch the games. The national team is a bit different in the sense that, it is still, one, the most popular sport in the world, and second, even if ice hockey is considerably more followed and watched, it is still watched in the national level, because it's, people want to see how Finland does, obviously, right? So there is at least that. And it is going to be interesting, because I believe at this point in time, the team count of the European Cup has been raised. So it's going to be curious whether or not we'll be finally able to reach the European Cup at some point in the future, because now there's, more spots to take. So who knows? Fingers and crossed and thumbs up and hoping for the best. Yes. And indeed, I hope to, bring some glory to the 100 years of Finland here by winning this game, and it looks pretty good at this point. I honestly, when I started to do this, I genuinely expected to have like a 0-0, 0-0 game and lose in the shootout or something, because I couldn't get goals done. Just no. So that is just the long and short of how that went down. And actually, I myself, as a kid, I did play a few years of football. I wanna say it was 3, but well, and come on, that should be a goal, but no, because I'm terrible. That's the reason. I'm really, really bad at playing this. So I hope there's no judging and all that, because this is about playing as Finland, because 100 years of Finland, that's the point. And indeed, in the 6th day of December, Finland will turn 100 years in 2017, which hopefully will be pretty much at the time I get this video out. I hope. Let's hope that. And It is indeed a really, really big thing, and it is a good place to live, and a good place to just play football or ice hockey or whatever, even though, you know, some sports are a bit more expensive than others, but, you know, football is not very expensive to play, so that's a positive, obviously. And indeed, we have the freedom to be able to do that, which is always nice, and thanks to that is for the people who have fought to hold on to our independence. So there we have that. And come on, let's take this defensive play here and move to... oh crap, that was one pass too many because I'm terrible, but that should be normal by now, yes. And, right. So here we are, just tackle that one, and I might have a chance here. I have a pretty good shot. This could be 6-0, maybe. Oh, no, it's not. Bad pass. Sorry, that's false alarm, folks. No goal again. Yeah, no. Let's throw the ball. Oh, right. That's the problem. I often just shoot and then it goes through the air because I don't quite understand the controls fully. So there's that. And then Mr. Jarstein, and I don't know how to pronounce that name there, but that's sure. And indeed, I have indeed some hope, because if you've been watching football, you have seen that even small countries, when they start doing the right things, they can all of a sudden just start doing really well. Iceland is an excellent example where a small nation, which I believe Iceland has to have less players than Finland does, and they still have been doing really well the past couple of years. And they also have really good fans too, but still they have played super well. And just with good coaching, and just they utilize their strengths really, really well. And just when we manage to do that same thing, maybe we have some hope of reaching the European Cup, or even one day in the very far future, the World Cup. Who knows? Haha, we gotta stay positive, you see. Yes, they're just... come on. Determined to win the ball, but not quite enough. Whose throw is that at that point? I kind of missed it. Ours, good. Okay. Let's see if we can... Oh, not a bad shot, but not quite good enough. I had almost a good idea, but not quite, yes. Okay. Now, oh, crap. That's a lot of defensemen. Oh, crap. I tried to, you know, hard pass it through, but that didn't quite work out. But, nonetheless, here we go. And then, just, let's try to pass it up, and... Well, it could have gone worse, but not quite good enough. And I'm not even sure if it could have gotten worse, but, well, at least no one got hurt, so at least that's fine, but no goal either. Oh, crap. We can still do this. Let's just pass through the... let's not pass through and let's just lose the ball, because I'm horrible at this. Yes. Okay, focus. Let's just... there we are. Just give us the ball. Yes, good. Thank you. Oh, that's a hard pass. Oh, I thought you would take the ball, man. Just come on. Let's pass the tear, and there we are. 6-0. Yay! Number 20 again. Joel Pohjanpalo. We did it. Great. 6-0. That is quite the lovely set of numbers. That is a good thing to see. I don't know what is the largest amount that Finland has done goals in a football game, but this has gotta be pretty close to that, because indeed football is not exactly a large scoring sport most of the time. So and indeed when the team isn't usually super good. So although somewhere around in the late 90s, the team was actually kind of okay, and it was really close to reaching the World Cup. It was, I can't remember the year anymore, but indeed there was one year where essentially, I believe it was a game against Hungary, which we were leading by some like a goal or something like this. And if we would have even gotten, I believe, either a win or, well, anyhow, like 2 minutes before the end of the game against Hungary, we were, you know, holding on to the notion that we were going to the World Cup. But then, indeed, in those last minutes, Hungary scored a goal because we just, you know, melted completely and then just, you know, never got to the World Cup in the end. That's the Finnish way of often doing sports. You lose the games at the very, very last moment because your just nerves just can't handle it. That was often the case in the 90s and early 2000s and all that. It was at that point we didn't have a very good winning culture in our team sports overall, really, and that has only started getting better, I believe, in the last maybe, you know, 3, 4, 5-ish years, really. So when, you know, new younger players to every sport have, you know, come, and they are not as prejudiced against themselves and their own skills, as for some reason the whatchamacallit, you know, the national belief in oneself in sports was at some point so low in the 90s and 2000s that just players often just, you know, melted and just couldn't, you know, finish the games at a high level and just lost the games at the end. So there's that. But indeed, we're winning this one though, 6-0, unless they make a goal here, which would be quite bad. But we take the ball and just be all tactically sound about this, and let's see if we can get this. Well, we at least got a corner still, so let's do this and see if we can. Well, not a bad one at all. Another corner, and just okay. And that's probably the end of the game, I feel, because the extra time was 3 minutes, and indeed time goes a bit fast in this one to avoid being too long-winded. So that is indeed the game. We won 6-0. That was a lot better than I ever expected. And back at the in that crowd, I saw the word Suomi, and indeed in Finnish, the name of our country, Finland, is called Suomi, Suomi, and indeed, that is it. And that was a bit of a fun little bit of a different thing to do for 100 years of Finland. I just, you know, new kind of a different game, and indeed, I'm terrible at this, and the AI wasn't too hard because I couldn't handle harder. That's the problem. But indeed, we got it done, and it was fun, and I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have, please do drop a like or a comment, or even subscribe or share if you want to. It would really help. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.